Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Rebecca and Rebecca. My name is Rebecca Yager.
And I'm Rebecca Reed.
Hey, Rebecca.
How you doing?
Good, good, good. We are here today we're going to talk about Redeeming the Cowboy by Lisa Jordan and give our honest and upright and forthright review. Anyway, why don't we tell people about the book and then we'll dive into our review.
Okay, well, this book is book 2 of the Stone River Ranch series. And the blurb goes like this. It says, "How does a cowboy know when to hang on and when to let go? 5 years ago, bull rider Bear Stone lost everything: his best friend, his fiancee, his career, and Piper Healy, his best friend's wife, never forgave him for the rodeo accident that killed her husband. Now they're working together to save his family's ranch. But can this cowboy choose between his last chance at the rodeo and the woman he's falling for?" And this is a love inspired romance um, that is set in Colorado. And like I said, it's the second one in a series. But you don't really have to read the first one to understand what's going on in this one, because it is a separate story with separate protagonists and heroes and heroines and things. So,
No, I felt like I know who the first story was about just by reading the second book. I said, "Oh, that's their story. It's the first one," and I kind of want to go back and read the
I would
first
agree.
one, um, because you know that. I think Lisa did a good job. This is love inspired, and love inspired, if y'all don't know, is they do sweet romances. It's always a happily ever after ending. The books are a little bit shorter, um, and so they're sweet and they're
Mhm.
fine. And this one lived up to that. I thought it was a very emotional story. There's still a lot of grit to it because
Yes.
Piper and Bear, the hero and the heroine, are both dealing with tremendous loss and tremendous guilt and blame. And so there's some real depth to this one, I thought.
Hmm. I would agree. And there's, these two characters are struggling with a lot of things. Faith is one of them, but
Mhm.
they're also struggling, as you mentioned, with a lot of guilt, because Piper's husband and Bear were rodeo buddies. They were in high school together. They went through like learning how to be um, bull riders together, and then they became professional bull riders, and they were riding in a circuit. And it also kind of has a lot to do with traumatic head injuries as well, because that was the key. I mean, it doesn't get into the science of it or anything, but really that was what caused the death of Piper's husband. And um, people were trying, especially Bear, was trying to talk him out of riding this because he had had some sort of concussion not too
Concussions,
long
yeah.
before.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they were worried that he was going to have issues because it hadn't been long enough and things like that, but he wouldn't listen. And then this bull that he drew was is a very difficult bull to ride, from what I understood from the book. And um he passed out, I think. Is I don't It doesn't really say what happened, but it seems like with the concussion and then all of the the difficulty of riding the bull, the way he bucks and things, that he probably passed out and then fell and was not able to get out of the way of the bull and was killed. So, and Piper blames Bear for not talking her husband out of it, even though he tried to talk him out of it. And he's told
Mhm.
her this. She just has to blame somebody, I think. I think it's just the grief. She had to blame somebody, and that was the easiest way. They had all been friends since middle school,
Yeah,
like
the three
grade
of them.
school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, all three of them. So,
Yeah, I think their history plays a part in this story too. That they did all grow up together, and I do think Bear had a thing for Piper when they were
no,
younger, but gallantly stepped aside when Ryland showed interest in her. Mm.
I would agree. Yeah, he was a good friend to Ryland, better than probably Ryland and Piper even realized at the time, because he liked Piper, but he didn't let on. He didn't challenge that. He let them develop their own relationship.
Hmm. Hmm. No, Bear is a very honorable, very likable character. I liked everything about the ranch. I liked his family. I like these stories with a strong sense of family, because some of these family characters, as well as the characters in the town, just can add so much to the story. Talk about your favorite part of the story.
Well, my favorite part of the story was the scenes where they have this group called Little Riders. And this is the group that I believe it that Ryland and Bear and everybody learned how to do rodeo in, and it takes young kids and they do very simple activities that mimic what happens in the regular rodeo. They ride stick horses and they teach them different things. Then they actually ride sheep instead of cattle or anything, and they learn how to ride the sheep. And this is just it's like a training for young rodeo stars in the future, like future rodeo riders and things. And I just really liked it because the man who started this, his name is Victor. There was an emergency and he had to leave town, and so he left Bear in charge. And Bear doesn't know how to deal with all the little kids. Um, and the guy that's helping him doesn't really give him a lot of help. He just says, "You do your thing."
And so Bear is thrown into the deep end with these kids
Yeah,
in the rodeo school. And this is a rodeo town. I mean, anyone who lives in this town in Colorado, they grow up with the horses, they grow up around the rodeo. So they do learn at a young age, most of them, to ride and mutton busting. Isn't that the sheep
that's
riding?
what it was
Mutton
called.
busting.
Yes, mutton busting.
And for our friends out there, you got to know Rebecca here is loves her horses. So I think anything with a horse in it, she's gonna jump on.
Yes, the horse on the cover certainly did pull me in, I will say.
Actually, it's a
But I
very
thought they did. She did a good job with the horse information, and I thought that she handled all of the rodeo stuff really well. I'm not really a rodeo person, although I did do some barrel racing in my 4-H days. Um, but I thought she did it. She handled the scenes with the rodeo really well. I didn't notice anything glaringly, wrong with any of them. And I know that Lisa was a little worried about that because she said it a few times. She's like, "I hope you don't find anything wrong with the horse parts." And I'm like, they're fine. It's like they're good. And she does a good job. Just kind of getting the feel of the ranch, though, I thought. And I agree with you. I think the family was very strong, uh, like almost its own character in this story,
Mm,
because the family that was kind of the problem too, was that the ranch was having some difficulties. Cattle prices were down and there was some things. So they're building this guest ranch to try to generate income. And that's how Bear and Piper, they've been chosen sort of to head up this project and work together. And so that's the immediate, like when you first come on in the first scene of the book, that's what you find out, is that they have to work together. They have to figure out a way to get past all of um, this
well, they're
this
grief,
guilt and the
guilt.
angst and everything, whatever, all of that has to be put aside for the good of the family. And they do a great job, and it turns out really interesting how they work it out, I feel like. And but yeah, I really liked the side characters. I liked Eugene, the
Mhm,
beekeeper, the
mhm.
beekeeping counselor. And I liked like Lynetta, who was
Mm,
Piper's kind of surrogate mother, and
mm,
raised her after her own mother sort of just kicked her out
mm,
when she got pregnant at 17, which is another thing that I feel like, Love Inspired. I don't think they used to like go for a lot of that stuff, but I feel like it's more of that is coming in where it's more realistic to the modern times as well. And I liked the fact that it had that, because those kind of things do happen. And Lynetta and Pete, they run a restaurant. Well, Lynetta's parents ran the restaurant originally, and then they were killed. I'm pretty sure that was I think we find out about that in book one, but I don't know for sure. I'm guessing. I don't
But
know.
it's
We'll have
early.
to have.
It's mentioned early on here
Yeah.
in book two, and Lynetta is also Bear's aunt in real life and Piper's surrogate mother. So you can see the close knit community that this is,
Yeah.
that they have. Lost my thought.
Oh no. Yeah, I did like that. And then, of course it comes down to there's also kind of a bully character in here that is from their past as well, because they all went to school with Chet, who's
Ted. Yeah.
who's I don't know, he's kind of what I would consider like the entitled rich kid. That's the way I thought of him. And he's like the kid who feels like he doesn't have to work. He's not a kid anymore. I mean, he's an adult, but it feels like he's been this way for a while. And he's there's been some issues between Bear and him, and there's been issues between Piper and him in the past, and that comes up several times to become a really huge kind of piece of the conflict that goes through the book, that runs through it. There's more than one really conflict that I feel like that goes through the book, but that's definitely one of them, and it's a major one. And how that gets resolved, I really enjoyed that too.
Right.
So
Right. No, again, there's for a love inspired book, there's real issues, but there's also real showing real compassion, real forgiveness, the power of Christ in their lives too. And so there's really a lot to it that I really liked, along with the very sweet romance that happens. And of course there's Avery, who is Piper's daughter, Ryland and Piper's daughter, and she adds comic relief and cute things,
yeah.
that is also pivotal
Mm-hmm.
with parenting styles and things too. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but
Yeah, exactly. I will just say, this book is, for a shorter novel, there are a lot of layers in this book. It is not a simple book. As you would think, it's shorter, so there's only going to be like a main plot line and that's it. No, not this book. This book has multiple, it isn't really multiple plots, but I feel like the plot is very layered.
Layered. I think layer's a good word. There's some depth to it.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's peeling back the layers throughout the story, that to me came to a very satisfying and very emotional ending, but very sweet and very satisfying. And the power of forgiveness is huge, and sometimes that's forgiving yourself. But it's a big deal, and the sense of community and what a sense of family is, because Piper's always longing for family, and
Yes. Yeah,
Bear
I think
has.
that was.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry.
No,
I'm interrupting you.
see,
See,
we like this book.
you wanted me to talk more. All right. That's what you get. Uh, so yeah, I really thought the change that the characters go through was I thought with Bear it was more of a, I don't know, his arc was smoother to me. Like it really was. He just kind of gradually changed, but I feel like with Piper, it was almost like a really flat, like, incline for a long time, because she just resisted more. And then it was sort of like, that proverb or whatever about the straw that breaks the camel's back. It was like that with her. Like, it was just a really slow, like, change at first, and then all of a sudden, like, then you hit like the main, like, there was a big change at the end, a bigger change. So that was kind of interesting too, to see the different types of character change arcs that you could write in a story, as far as from the author's point of view, I thought.
But from a writer perspective, anyone who's looking at writing, it is to look at these two
Yes.
characters, and that's a very good point, because their arcs are different, and how they do that. And you're right, Piper was much more resistant to the changes, and Bear was trying to embrace moving on. He wants to move on. It's just really hard, but he wants to. Yeah, I loved I think this is your layering is a great analogy. This is a deep book.
Yeah,
With lots
I
of
did enjoy it a lot.
yeah, I did too. As I said, I think I want to go read book one, and I do believe there's a third book in this series.
I think
It's going to be
so. Yeah.
Bear's brother, who's mentioned in of course book two and probably book one, that gets his own story for book three. So it's a worthwhile series, I think, to pick up. So safe to say we enjoyed it, we liked it.
Hmm.
Not just for the reading side, but from the writing side, in which you the depth.
Yeah, I think so because I think getting all the layers in a shorter book, this would be a good book to like take a look at and tear apart and study. And then of course integrating those two different kinds of change arcs for the characters, for the main characters, that's also something that, you often we just mirror them. They both kind of progress at a similar pace, but I think this is, and other books, I mean, they might not be exactly the same, but this book is the one that I've read that where they were the most different, that I could really pick it out.
Mhm.
I feel like.
Mhm. That's good.
So
It is good to study. Yeah, that's a great point. Now that you say that, and it's like, yeah, she's absolutely right on that. And good thing. Well, again, this is I think highly recommended. I think we're gonna have a lot to talk about with Lisa in the
yeah,
interview. And by the way, we're changing things. Shall we talk
we
about
are.
that
We should
for
talk about that.
and probably moving forward, but up till now, Rebecca has done a book review in 1 month and then talked to the author in the following month. And we're still going to do reviews and still speak to the author, but we're putting them in the same month. So
Getting ambitious.
there's just too many good books out there. There's more we want
Yeah.
to do, and we were limiting ourselves. So, and they are going to post about 2 weeks apart, so you don't have to wait long to get the author interview once we do the review. So this is November, so we will be posting this on November 15th, which obviously is posted now. So, but if you're
Yeah.
watching this on
We
November
posted
15th,
this
oh,
on.
surely, yeah, we're posting this on November 15th. So, and if it's November 16th and you're not seeing this,
We're sorry.
we're punchy today. Sorry. Lisa's interview will post 2 weeks later on November
Mhm.
29th is what we're trying to say. But moving forward, and so for December, we will have a new author to us, Deneen Miller, and we're going to be reviewing Bloom to be Messy, which is also part of a series, and it's more rom-com. Even
Mhm.
though it's December, it's not very Christmassy, but it's a cute story and it's fun and it's light for
It'll
the
remind us why we like spring or summer, because we'll be here in Indiana. And I don't know, you Texans, you keep heat all year round. However, those of us in Indiana will be appreciating the flower theme because it'll remind us that winter does go away.
That's true. And I do live in a part of Texas that does get ice storms. So maybe
Okay.
not much
All
snow, but
right.
we
All
get the
right.
ice
We'll give you
storms.
that.
So anyway, well, forgive us folks for being a little punchy, but let's get back to Redeeming the Cowboy, Lisa Jordan. It's a love inspired book. This was the second book of a 3-book series. So they're short enough you can read all 3 books and enjoy them and get involved in this community and this family and in the life of a rodeo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anything else for this one, or should we sign off before we totally
We probably should before we offend everyone.
all right, we will be talking to Lisa soon and have that interview posted, and hopefully we will be a little more calm. Anyway,
Or
get
not. You never know.
okay, we're real.
Yeah.
Get Redeeming the Cowboy by Lisa Jordan. It was a very good book, full of deep layers for a short book and a lot of emotion, but still that happily ever after ending that I think we all enjoy, whether we admit it or not. Yeah. All right. We will see y'all next time. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Bye.